So I'm actually kind of surprised I'm making this video myself, because it wasn't that long ago where I was watching a video. It was about 3 years ago, I would say, 4 years ago, when Teddy Balthazar made a video about Filippo Loretti. I thought that video was very interesting. He sort of called them out on certain things that he thought were kind of deceiving about their business model. Today, I have a watch from Filippo Loretti to show you guys. This is from a brand called Atelier Loretti. This is their higher end, or at least what they're trying to make as their higher end brand. They reached out to me to make a review, and when I saw the watch, I was actually impressed. There were some really interesting specs, there were some really interesting dials, and it was a tourbillon, but it was an automatic tourbillon that was using a Japanese movement, or at least they were saying it was a Japanese base movement, which is very rare and not something that you see every day. So I agreed to do the video. I didn't have to sign any crazy contracts or make any sort of agreements or any of that stuff. I have the watch to show you guys. It has a meteorite dial. It is kind of an interesting looking watch, but I'm going to give you my honest review on it, and I'm not going to be a snob, because I always say that here on my channel. I'm not a snob. I like facts. I'm going to tell you how I feel. So let's flip the camera and take a look at a brand that I thought I would never feature here on my channel. And in fact, it really didn't exist up until recently. Atelier Loretti. So I've refused to review Filippo Loretti here on my channel in the past. And when they reached out to me about this watch, I was about to refuse them. And then I spoke to another YouTuber about this watch, and he said he was going to do the review because he thought it was interesting and he thought it was sort of a turning point for the brand. And then as I examined it a little bit more, I kind of agreed with him. So I don't really love everything that Filippo Loretti are doing currently. However, this is a very affordable watch for what you're getting, and it's really not all that bad looking. It kind of reminds me of a more expensive watch. There are a number of brands that you could mention right now, but this does get a meteorite dial. This is the most expensive version, but these are starting at $850, and they're offering 20% off that price. So this is coming in well under $700, and you're getting a Miyota movement. So that's kind of the reason why I decided that I wanted to review this watch. Behind this dial is a Miyota movement. So like I said, this starts at $680. This is around $840 with the discount. It's $1,050 without the discount, but with that being said, it's still a meteorite dial watch. I have reviewed meteorite dial watches here on my channel that are automatic, that have a Miyota movement, that are more expensive than this, and they are not tourbillons. So this gets a Miyota 8215. That is a very basic Miyota movement. However, they put a tourbillon module on top. There is a plate that they put on the back to make it a little bit better looking, and I have to say it's pretty good looking. The plate is basically useless. It's just a plate that sits on top of the movement. It has nothing to do with the movement. And then, of course, they're putting a custom rotor on here to make it look like a custom movement. It's not. It's a Miyota. It's a standard Miyota movement, the 8215, which is a very reliable movement and a very serviceable movement as well. I'm not sure about the tourbillon portion of it, but pretty cool that they did this. You get a display case back, 100 meters of water resistance. It is a screwed-in case back, and it's a stainless steel watch. You get a sapphire crystal on the front that is extremely domed, slightly boxed. When you turn it on its side, you can see extra thickness from the sapphire crystal. It's on the thicker side in general because you're getting that tourbillon, you're getting that Miyota movement, then you have that base plate on the back. I don't think it adds all that much thickness, but it's obviously thicker than a normal Miyota 8215. So this is a 14 millimeter thick watch that's including both sapphire crystals, which is okay. You have a lug to lug of around 49 millimeters, so it is a pretty long lug to lug. You have these lugs that are really decently finished. Everything here is nicely finished, and it's a 42 millimeter case. So I think if I had one complaint about this watch, I don't think it needs to be 42 millimeters. Because you have all this negative space, you have a very small bezel, this watch looks a lot bigger than it actually is. I don't think they needed to make this in 42 millimeters. It should have been maybe a 39 or a 40 millimeter watch. It would wear smaller and would appear smaller as well, because this does appear larger than, I would say, its dimensions, but I think it wears and looks like its dimensions. I think it just would look better in a smaller package because you do have a lot of negative space, empty space on that dial. You have polished hands. They're really nice. And then you have that tourbillon window right at the 6 o'clock position. It says Atelier Loretti on the dial. It's really hard to read, and you really can't see it all that much on this dial. The other dials that they're offering, which are stone dials, the ones that are a little bit cheaper, you can read it a little bit better. And there it is on my 7.5 inch wrist. You can see this does look larger than 42 millimeters on my wrist. So, like I was saying before, that's because you have a very thin bezel. You have a clean dial that doesn't have a lot on it. So it does look visually, it just feels like a larger watch. It looks like a larger watch. The other complaint that I have about this watch is a complaint that I have with a lot of other brands. They put an embossed crocodile calf leather strap. I don't think they should do that. I think if you're going to make a watch like this, put a regular calf leather strap, put a fabric strap, put something that is genuine. You don't want to add something that is not actually crocodile, in my opinion. If you are not going to put a crocodile strap, don't put something that looks like a crocodile strap, in my opinion. You should just put a suede leather strap. I think it would look a lot better on a watch like this, in my opinion. So there it is on my 7.5 inch wrist. If you have a smaller wrist, this watch will be probably harder for you to wear, because of the thickness, because of the lug-to-lug, and because of the way that it visually comes across as a larger watch in general. Like I said, Filippo Loretti are not a brand that I have ever featured here on my channel, and I never expected to feature this watch on my channel. But the price here is actually decent. They're not playing games with the price either. They're initially giving you 20% off the asking price of, on this watch, which is $1,050, or their other watches that they're offering with stone dials and some other dials. I think there's 3 other dials. Those are $850. So those are the prices that they're asking, and then they're giving you 20% off if you pre-order. And there have been plenty of videos made because they had some tactics in the past. I don't know if they're doing that anymore because, like I said in the beginning of this video, they reached out to me, they asked me for nothing besides just to make a video. So I said to them, I'm going to make a video, I'm going to say what I want about the watch, and that is it. And they were completely okay with that. Yes, this is a sponsored video. I get to keep the watch. I am being very honest about the watch, as you can tell. I don't think it's a badly made watch. I think it's actually a pretty good looking watch, but if it were smaller, it would be better. Also, the movement, I think, is a pretty cool movement. I wish they actually didn't put that plate on the back. It looks kind of cheap because of that. If they didn't do that, I think it would still look cheap, but because it's a Miyota 8 series, but it would be a little bit less thick maybe. I'm not even entirely sure if it would be less thick, but they also put that very boxed sapphire crystal, and that's part of the thickness as well. I think they're giving you an extra strap at this price if you pre-order as well. So $680 for their stone dials and whatever other dials they're offering. And then this will come out to like $840, something like that. Tell me what you guys think down in the comments below. I think this is an interesting offering, and I think that they are trying to do something different. Obviously, changing the name completely probably would have been the way to go. Make this a completely separate brand. Don't put Loretti in the name at all. I think more people would have been receptive to it. I immediately said no because of the name. And then I went back to it after talking to some of my friends, and I don't think it's a big deal. I'm not a watch snob, so I will feature watches that in the past maybe I didn't want to feature, but here we are. I will feature a watch from a brand that is trying to do something a little bit different and taking a different approach to it in general. So I like that. Tell me what you guys think down in the comments below. I want to hear from you guys. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell icon. It's super helpful for the channel, and I very much appreciate it. Anyway, guys, thank you for logging on. Thank you for watching this video. I will put a link to the pre-order page for this watch down in the description below. Definitely check it out if you are interested. That's really all, guys. Thank you for logging on. I'll catch you guys in the next.